the rain hammered against the crumbling facade of Blackwood Manor, each drop a relentless drumbeat against my already frayed nerves. I, Elias Thorne, a scholar adrift in a sea of purposelessness, had arrived seeking answers, a flicker of meaning in the desolate landscape of my life. My uncle, a man I barely knew, had left me this monstrosity in his will, along with cryptic journals hinting at secrets best left undisturbed. Blackwood Manor was a monument to decay. Ivy, thick as pythons, choked the stone walls. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic and faintly rotten. Inside, shadows danced in the periphery, fueled by the flickering gas lamps that barely pierced the oppressive gloom. Days bled into weeks as I immersed myself in my uncle's journals. He wrote of a hidden world beneath Blackwood, a place called Ethelgard, sustained by an ancient, pulsing heart of crystal. He spoke of its beauty, its intricate clockwork mechanisms, and its people, the Athelians, beings of ethereal grace and profound knowledge. He believed I, a descendant of the original architect of Ethelgard, was the only one who could save it. I dismissed it as madness, the ramblings of a dying man consumed by delusion. Yet, the persistent feeling of being watched, the inexplicable drafts that snaked through the sealed rooms, and the recurring dream of a crystalline city bathed in ethereal light chipped away at my skepticism. The breakthrough came one stormy night. While deciphering a particularly dense passage in the journals, I discovered a hidden mechanism behind a bookcase in the library, a series of levers and gears intricately connected. Armed with a flickering lantern and a heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation, I descended. The air grew colder, damper, and the metallic scent intensified. The stone walls were slick with moisture, and the silence was broken only by the drip, drip, drip of water and the frantic rhythm of my own breath. The staircase opened into a vast cavern. Before me lay Ethelgard, a city of impossible beauty and intricate design. Buildings crafted from shimmering crystal soared towards the cavern's ceiling, illuminated by a network of glowing orbs that cast an ethereal light. The Athelians, with their pale skin, luminous eyes, and flowing silver hair, moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. I was greeted by Lyra, the keeper of the Crystal Heart, a woman of immense wisdom and quiet strength. Her eyes, the color of amethyst, held a sadness that mirrored the city's fading light. She confirmed my uncle's journals, explaining that the Crystal Heart, the source of Ethelgard's life force, was being corrupted by a force known as the Void, a creeping darkness that sought to consume all light and order. It has infiltrated our society, sowing seeds of mistrust and division. The Crystal Heart weakens with each act of malice, each whisper of hatred. She told me of my ancestor, Alistair Thorne, the visionary who had designed Ethelgard to be a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of ingenuity and harmony. She believed I possessed the same spark of brilliance, the same innate understanding of the city's intricate mechanisms. Only I, she said, could restore the Crystal Heart and save Ethelgard. My initial awe quickly gave way to apprehension. I was merely a scholar, lost and adrift, but seeing the hope in Lyra's eyes, the desperate plea in the faces of the Athelians, I knew I couldn't turn away. The first step was to understand the nature of the void. Lyra introduced me to Silas, an elderly Athelian scholar who had dedicated his life to studying the ancient texts and prophecies. Silas was a frail figure, his face etched with worry, but his mind was sharp and his knowledge vast. Kamij. The void is not merely an absence of light, Silas explained, his voice raspy with age. It preys on the weaknesses of the heart, amplifying negative emotions and twisting them into weapons. He showed me ancient scrolls depicting the origin of the void, a cataclysmic event that shattered the original Crystal Heart, unleashing a wave of darkness that had been lurking in the shadows ever since. To defeat it, we needed to find the fragments of the original Crystal Heart and use them to purify the corrupted one. The search for the fragments led us on a perilous journey through the underbelly of Athelgard, a labyrinth of forgotten tunnels and decaying workshops. They were once our friends, our neighbors, now reduced to mindless puppets of darkness. One such encounter was particularly heartbreaking. We stumbled upon Alara, Lyra's sister, who had been a renowned inventor and a close friend of my uncle. She was now a shell of her former self, her eyes vacant, her voice a guttural rasp. She attacked us with a ferocity born of desperation, her inventions twisted into instruments of pain. Lyra, torn between her love for her sister and her duty to Athelgard, was forced to defend herself. In the end, Lyra managed to subdue Alara without killing her, but the pain in her eyes was unbearable. "The void has taken so much from us," she whispered, cradling her sister's lifeless form. "It will not take any more." We finally located the first fragment of the original crystal heart hidden within a forgotten clock tower. It was a small shard, pulsing with a faint, warm light. But as we reached for it, we were confronted by a new threat. Malcor, the leader of the corrupted Athelians, a figure shrouded in darkness and radiating malevolent power. But the void had twisted his ambition into a lust for power, transforming him into a tyrant who sought to rule Athelgard with an iron fist. "You cannot stop me, Elias Thorn," Malcor sneered, his voice a venomous hiss. "Athelgard is destined to fall. The void will consume all light, and I will be its king." A fierce battle ensued. Malcor wielded the darkness with terrifying skill, conjuring shadowy creatures and manipulating the city's mechanisms to his advantage. I, armed with nothing but my wits and a makeshift weapon crafted from salvaged clockwork parts, fought alongside Lyra and Silas. But we refused to surrender. We fought for Athelgard, for its people, for the hope that still flickered in the darkness. Just when we were about to be overwhelmed, I had an inspiration. Remembering my uncle's journals, I realized that the clock tower was not just a building, but an intricate instrument designed to amplify the Crystal Heart's power. Using my knowledge of the city's mechanisms, I activated the tower, channeling the fragment's light towards Malcor. The light pierced Malcor's darkness, weakening his hold on the void. Seizing the opportunity, Lyra struck a decisive blow, shattering Malcor's control and freeing him from the void's influence. Malcor collapsed to the ground, his body racked with convulsions. As the darkness receded, his eyes cleared, and he looked at us with a mixture of shame and regret. "What have I done?" he whispered, his voice filled with anguish. "I have betrayed my people, my city, myself." Lyra, despite everything, offered him forgiveness. She understood that he was a victim of the void, a pawn in its insidious game. Each fragment was hidden in a place of significance, a location tied to a specific value: hope, courage, compassion, and wisdom. Gathering them was not merely a physical task, but a spiritual journey, a test of our resolve and our commitment to Athelgard. Finally, we returned to the Crystal Heart Chamber. The corrupted crystal heart pulsed with a sickly green light, its surface cracked and scarred. The air was thick with despair, and the city felt as if it was on the verge of collapse. Together, we placed the fragments of the original crystal heart around the corrupted one. A wave of pure energy washed over the chamber, pushing back the darkness and cleansing the corruption. The corrupted crystal heart shuddered, its surface cracking further. For a moment, it seemed as if it would shatter completely. But then, slowly, miraculously, the cracks began to heal. The sickly green light faded, replaced by a vibrant, pure blue. The crystal heart pulsed with renewed energy, its light radiating outwards, revitalizing Athelgard. The city came alive, its mechanisms humming with renewed vigor, its people filled with hope. We knew that it would always be lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. But we were prepared. We had learned the importance of unity, of compassion, of defending the light against the darkness. I remained in Athelgard for several months, helping to rebuild the city and to heal the wounds inflicted by the void. I discovered a purpose I had never known existed, a sense of belonging that filled the emptiness within me. I was no longer a scholar adrift, but a guardian, a protector of Ethelgard. My time in Ethelgard had changed me, had given me a new perspective on life. I was no longer afraid of the darkness, for I knew that even in the deepest shadows the light could still prevail. I left Ethelgard with a heavy heart, but also with a sense of hope. I knew that I would never forget the city of crystal, its people, and the lessons I had learned, and I knew that if Ethelgard ever needed me again, I would be ready to answer the call. Back in Blackwood Manor, the rain still fell, but it no longer felt oppressive.